Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jed. Welcome back to episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. What a way to cap off NASCAR's return to the Rock. The truck race on Friday was pretty good. Today's Xfinity race was very good, but also very chaotic. 14 cautions. We went into overtime, but it capped off with an awesome finish. Overtime, Taylor Gray on the outside, Sammy Smith on the inside. You think it's going to be Martinsville version 2 or 2.0, whatever you want to call it. But Jesse Love, who had the best cars with 53 laps he led in this race, just moves Taylor, or should say Sammy Smith, moves him up the racetrack to take the lead by force and to go on to victory lane to take home his second checker flag of 2025, I believe, his third win of his Xfinity Series career, and the first win not at a super speedway, not named Daytona, Talladega, or Atlanta. Let's get into it with the results here, shall we? So Sammy Smith finishes in second, Parker Retzlaff in third, Harrison Burton and Brendan Poole the top 5. Yeah, look at this top 10. This top 10 is absolutely crazy, and because it was a crazy race, so many crashes we need to discuss here. But yeah, Taylor Gray in 6, Austin Hill, not a word was mentioned about him, but he leaves with a top 10 points finish, place finish, I should say. Josh Williams in 8th, Jeff Byrne and Daniel Dye, the rookie, the top 10. Jeremy Clemens in 11th, Dean Thompson in 12th. He even won a stage there, led 6 laps. Brandon Jones, Connor Zilic had a wild day. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. As well as Casey Kane finishes in 15th. However, he did not have the day that he wanted. Carson Quaff, another driver, had a really good car. Just the race just got away from him. Led 47 laps to 17th. Ryan Sieg led 77 laps, so the most laps, but finishes in 19th place. Justin Allgaier 22nd, Christian Eckes 24th, William Sawalich in 26th, Sam Mayer 27th. Then some other drivers like Nick Sanchez led 52 laps, finishes 32nd. Justin Bonsignor 36th, Sheldon Creed 37th, and Katherine Legge rounds out the 38 car field. So yeah, let's unpack this, shall we? This race at first was dominated by Nick Sanchez. He won stage 1, but him and Jesse Love, those two battled out hard. But Jesse Love did have the faster car. We all knew that Jesse Love did have the faster car, but Nick Sanchez was able to hold his ground and was able to use pit strategy to his advantage by staying out in order to win that stage. But we all knew that Jesse Love had one of the best cars. The other driver was the 1 car. It was the 2 and the 1. Jesse Love and Carson Quaffle, those two went after each other in stage 2. I mean, they were swapping leads back and forth. They were making great moves. Both were losing off the corner. I mean, they were manhandling their race cars, and it was so cool to see just them driving their guts out, even bobbing and weaving through lap traffic was awesome to see. But at the end of the day, Carson Quaffle, he got trapped. I mean, in the later stages of the race in stage 3 with so many pit strategies, so many cautions, Carson Quaffle just got trapped behind a bunch of other cars. Jesse Love was able to take advantage of those restarts, and then Carson Quaffle just got caught up in accidents, including one with 12 laps to go where Christian Eckes just did not go, created a major stack up, and collected a whole bunch of other drivers, including Carson Quaffle. But excellent job by Jesse Love. This was a race that I think he needed to kind of show that he is not just a speedway merchant, that he can perform on other forms of racetracks. And if you're going to perform at Rockingham. I mean, what a way to show off your speed. I mentioned Sammy Smith in second, had a really quiet day, didn't make much noise, just was in the right place at the right time. Same thing with Parker Retzlaff. Did show some good speed. Harrison Burton, another driver, and Brendan Poole, just right place at the right time. We're able to avoid the chaos. And at the end of the day, sometimes in NASCAR, it's better to be lucky than good. I mentioned Ryan Sieg. He led the most laps with 77 in this race today. And wow. So let's just clear some context. In the later stages of the race, a whole bunch of cautions came out, and some drivers elected to stay out. Ryan Sieg was pitted 10 laps earlier than basically almost everybody else, like Jesse Love and all these other drivers, but he was able to hold his ground. However, this situation was setting up to be one like what we saw last night in the Truck Series race, with fuel mileage coming into play. And we were getting a whole bunch of yellows, but there was one yellow with 24 laps to go when Blaine Perkins cut a tire down in turns 3 and 4, hit the wall, brought out the caution. And almost like an Ambrose Sonoma 2010 scenario where Ryan Sieg, he's leading, and all of a sudden he just stops at the start finish line, picks it back up, but because he did not maintain pace car speed, he loses his first place position and got sent back into the pack of wolves. And that's when that crash happened with Christian Eckes not going, and that's what took him out of contention for what could have been a really good day, maybe even a race winning day if things fell in the right place. There were some other drivers like Connor Zilic. Connor Zilic had a day. Started on pole, but had a flat tire, had to go to the back of the field, drove his way up to the front, and then was quietly in stage 3 in the 7th, 8th position, could come home with possibly a top 5 run. And then some more controversy, got caught up in more accidents in the later stages of the race. Sam Mayer ran out of fuel. That created a large scramble getting into turn 1. Katherine Legge 3 wide in a turn 1 situation. It was not going to work. He spins it, was able to sort of catch it, but then clips Sam Mayer, I believe, and then also collects Jeb Burton involved and a whole bunch of other drivers. I think also Nick Sanchez was involved. So that took off. This race had a lot of crashes, took off a lot of big contenders. But one crash I think that is a lot of people were more focused on than all the other crashes was the one that happened in stage 1 on lap 52 involving Kasey Kahne, William Sawalich, and Katherine Legge. Now, for a backstory, Katherine Legge was driving the 53 car for Joey Gase Motorsports. She originally entered the 32 car for Jordan Anderson Racing. Now, she made the field on speed, however, she was sent home due to other drivers taking provisionals. Now, with Elf Beauty sponsoring the car, they wanted to be in this race, so they bought a ride from Joey Gase that was originally going to be driven by J.J. Yeley. Now, this is nothing new. This has happened before. Richard Petty has done this before. Now, albeit it was in a different scenario, Petty's car was deemed ineligible to race, but he did buy the U.S. Racing number 6 Chevy to compete in the Coca-Cola 600 in 1986. We've also seen it with, I believe, Ross Chastain didn't make the field for an Xfinity race, and Colleague Racing, the team he was driving for, had to buy, I believe, one of Ryan Sieg's cars to drive the 38 car. So it's happened before. It's nothing new. Let's get that out of the way. But on lap 52, Katherine Legge, who was a lap down or multiple laps down, was running around 4 to 5 tenths off the pace from the leader. And going into number 1, William Sawalich runs into the back end of her, and then that creates a pileup. Kasey Kahne ultimately is just a victim of circumstances. He gets collected. Katherine Legge slams head on into the outside wall. Now, William Sawalich had other issues that took him out of contention, but this was really the first domino effect into him having a bad day. Now, who's at fault? That is something that it's split. Many people are saying it's all on Katherine. Many people are saying it's all on William. Okay, I'm being nice. Most are saying it's on Katherine. Some are saying it's on William. Objectively, the way I see it, it's maybe 20% on Katherine and 80% on William. Here's why. Let's focus on the 20%. With Katherine, she wasn't miles off the pace. So I saw some people that were saying she parked it or she was 10 seconds slower. No, she was about half a second off the pace, which is what some other drivers, they were running around similar speeds. That's not an issue. Number 2, other drivers passed her cleanly, except for William. William Sawalich, based on what we saw last weekend at Bristol, does have a tendency to run into the back of other drivers. Katherine Legge knows what I'm talking about. However, if you look at this incident, Katherine does kind of corner the lap leader. So if you look at Nick Sanchez just barely squeezed through on the inside lane. Katherine could have given more room. She could have maybe gone up a lane higher. She could have given more space. At the same time, William, if you look at William's onboard camera, William was driving into her path. It's kind of a situation similar to, I believe, in Las Vegas in 2019 with, which I think, Garrett Smithley and Kyle Busch. Similar, not exactly, but similar. That's how I kind of view these two situations. William could have gone to the bottom, but he chose to run Katherine's line. So I don't understand why William did that, because he could have gone to the bottom. So I think that's just a lack of awareness on William's part. Again, I do think that about 20% of the blame does fall on Katherine, because I think she could have given more room. She kind of cornered Nick Sanchez very tight, could have given more room, but at the same time, William should have been much more aware about the situation and should have just not been in Katherine's lane. So that's how I view the situation. If you look at it from an objective set of eyes, how I look at it, I think most of the blame does fall on William, because he is the lap leader. He does hold a sense of responsibility to kind of be aware of his surroundings. He saw that Katherine was running the middle lane. Yes, Katherine could have given more room, but Katherine was running the middle lane. It was clear. It wasn't like Katherine just moved lanes. She held her line. William just drove into the back end of her. So that's how I look at this situation. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in the minority in that aspect, but that's how I view it. I will say, though, in terms of Katherine, her entry into NASCAR has not been the greatest. I mean, the situation she has been, Phoenix, she was put in a lose-lose situation with the worst car on the racetrack at a pretty difficult track on a car she's never driven, being the next-gen car. And now look at this situation in a car she's never driven for Joey Gase Motorsports, and one of the most difficult tracks in all of NASCAR. Yeah, I think her next race, I believe, is Charlotte, which is a much easier mile-and-a-half racetrack, intermediate racetrack. So hopefully things can go a lot better for her the next time around. Now, as for the race itself, what a race. It was awesome. Now, it did get very sloppy at the end with the amount of cautions that were coming up left, right, and center, but for the most part, it was a fabulous race. I loved it. Tires didn't mean as much, but I'll be honest, this track was recently repaved. Remember, this is a repaved track. For a newly repaved track, I'm surprised by how racy it was. I mean, you could really make passes, you could drive up on drivers, you could do some really good things behind the wheel. So I really enjoyed that. The battles, I say that the battle throughout the entire race was Jesse Love and Carson Quaffle. Those two drivers just, they were just making they were doing beautiful things behind those wheels. So it was awesome to see them just drive up on each other, cars getting loose, getting sideways, fun racing from start to finish. Excellent commentary by the CW, Adam Alexander, Jamie McMurray, and Parker Kligerman. So overall, it was just a lot of fun. And if it's this good, like I said, with it being a newly repaved surface, if it's this good in year one, I cannot wait to see what Rockingham looks like 3-4 years down the line, because if it's this good, I can only imagine when the track does start to age, we could see some really, really good racing. As for the crowd showed out. I heard it was sold out. Great crowd on hand. The racing was great. Hopefully this is the beginning of a long-term stay of NASCAR at Rockingham and not a 1 to 3 year stay. I would love to see Rockingham be once again a fixture in the NASCAR scene. For Cup, based on how the next gen runs, I'm worried. At the very minimum, Trucks and Xfinity must return. For Cup, I don't trust the next gen yet, so I can't really make a comment on that. But if I were to give a scaling on this race from 1 to 10, I give this an 8. I thought this was really, really good, but it did get pretty sloppy at the end, so I got to deduct points for that. But I thought for a first showing at Rockingham this weekend, they killed it. But what are your thoughts on this race? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thanks for watching.